Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com. Saturday, June the 10th, 2023. Here with your live show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. One of those interesting cards today and tomorrow are both very, very similar. A lot of day games. A lot of day games. This is for the people that want to go out at night and party and do whatever, not have to worry about their bets or whatever, because these games, they both, Sundays are generally day loaded, but Saturday usually has been spread out. This is the first one that we've seen that's just pounded with day games and a sprinkle in night games. They usually do this when it's Yankees, Red Sox is when they do it. And because they just think that that's going to be, the center stage. And I guess those are two teams that no matter what the records are, they're always going to be a draw. So maybe that's it. And then, because really you have the schedule and it goes, there's 6 o'clock, only 4 games after 6 o'clock Eastern. So that's just the way that the schedule goes. And then, of course, we've got the NHL game, and that's why we got Rod Zawacky up first as the Panthers take on the Knights. Rod, how's it going today for you?
Going good so far. Busy morning. So much stuff to do. Lots of sports action. We got the NHL. You've got lots of baseball. And we also got the Belmont Stakes. I'm excited. I love Belmont Stakes. Saturday's actually going to be good.
I lost that Astros game in 135 innings last night. I had the Orioles on the run line who wild pitched in the winning run, and then of course I had the Miami Heat who just got beat. I mean, they just got beat. They just got beat. And that's that. I could, as a fan, I can accept it. As a bettor, I don't like it. But it's like But at the same time, I had money line, so I only lost even money on it. So I'm still up for the series overall as far as my betting on it. And the thing is, I won the lottery last night, the Mega Millions. So that's really, really exciting. So
nice.
Yeah, $6. $6.
Nice.
Reinvested. I've already don't worry. There's no reason for anyone to ask me for any money. I've already reinvested the entire 6. It's already been reinvested.
These guys got me yesterday. 1 and 13 with runners in scoring position. Yikes! Come on, Jays.
Yeah, they
and then lost it late. It was like,
Well, they had won a couple tight ones. They had won a couple tight ones prior to that, and so it's baseball. There's a lot of games, always, a lot of stuff happens, and they always say that if you go to the ballpark every single day, you're going to see something that you've never seen before every single day.
That you've never seen before, right?
But the thing is, the thing that I've never seen before is always some way that my team busts up my parlay. It's like, man, I've just been absolutely crushed in some of these games. I mean, I was looking at it, and the Mariners are taking on the Angels. I was like one of those brain surgeons that last time out when Bryce Miller pitched against the Rangers. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to step in there. He's going to slow down the Rangers here in Texas. Got his ass kicked. I mean, I turned off the game in the 3rd inning and just pretended it didn't happen. It's like I just you have to get in the mindset that this is where my bankroll was anyway, because I put the bet in, right? So my bankroll is ready. I just have to pretend that the bet was never made. And and that's it. You turn off the TV, you go out, you walk around the block, you do whatever. You go pet the dog, you just pretend it never happened. You don't check the scoreboard the next day to see how it ended up. There was no comeback. It wasn't going to happen. But anyways,
I was get taken to the woodshed too. I was like, hey, who's going for a walk? You take the dog, you got to just go clear your head, because it's like, and you can't let them eat you, because they do happen. Losses definitely happen.
This is the world that we live in. I know that I was reading in the YouTube comments yesterday. Some of the criticism of the Heat was really, really harsh, but I think that I don't think you could be harsh on them at all. I saw stuff like, the Warriors or anybody else would have done better against the Nuggets. It's like they would have been there then. Then they would have been there.
Exactly. They would have been.
They would have been there if they would have been able to do better. So
my Oilers would have done better too. They could have totally done better, right?
You think, right? But it's like The reality of it is the Heat made pretty quick work of the Milwaukee Bucks, who had the best record, and then they beat the Celtics in 7, and really it should have been 6. It was a half a second away from being in 6,
It's
right?
sick. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it really was that close. So, anyways, it happens. And what do you got going on for us today?
Well, we're going to go to Game 4 of this Stanley Cup playoff game, and where we've seen in that Game 3, Florida. It took them late. They took them the empty net goal to tie it up and send it to overtime, where they got a soft goal. Aiden Hill probably definitely looking to bounce back there, because for him that was a soft goal from what we've seen from him this season in these playoffs so far, and I think he does get a bounce back. It's just going to be another close, tight checking game. But I'm going to go with the Panthers here. I think they're going to make a series of it here. At home, we've seen the home team is now 12-1 in the last 13 meetings between these two teams. Home is where the home cooking is. Vegas won their 2 games at home. I think the Panthers win both here at home, and they send it back to Vegas, tied 2-2, making it the best of 3. Meaning we'll definitely come back to Florida for Game 6. So I'm gonna go ride the Panthers. I think that momentum. I know it took them late in that Game 3 to get into overtime and then get a little bit of a soft win. But I think they take that momentum and carry it over here into Game 4, like we've seen them do many times. I think Bobrovsky's got his mojo back, and I think that gives him the confidence as well. So go with the Florida Panthers here to even up the series.
We talked about the game winner in Game 3 on the on our regular weekly morning show. The more I look at it, the more it's just a generic goal. It wasn't like a classic, or anything. And the thing about this series, and this has a chance to really be a classic, because neither of these teams have beaten the other team at home in a very, very long time. And the Vegas had a really good shot to knock off the Panthers last time. They were unable to do it. And they had power plays. They had everything. They had all kinds of chances. The game ended, all right, and this is, so I at least was watching, right? So the game ended last time on a power play for Vegas. So they started the overtime in a power play, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't like half the power play was gone. It was just 11 seconds, right, of the power play.
Yep.
So they had almost the entire power play. They were unable to do it. Chris Ruffolo's giving me the dirty hockey look from behind the scenes back there. He's like, where's my it's like, where's my share of that $6? It's like teamwork makes the dream work.
Well, because you look before that penalty got called, Vegas went ripping into the zone and ripped one right out the post. But posts happen. They count as the goalie too, and I don't know how many times we've seen Bobrovsky being bailed out by a post in these playoffs. So it is what it is, and I like the Panthers here to the series up 2-2.
All right. Well, what do you got going on at Pick Dogs today?
And over at Pick Dogs Room, I got my $20 MLB home run. We're on 11-4. We dropped the last couple of those. Looking to bounce back. Like I said, we had the Jays yesterday with 1-13 with runners in scoring position, but I love today's to bounce back. So head on over, scoop that up. Or I've got a 3-pack, 2 MLBs, 1 hockey. Head on over, Pick Dogs Room, scoop it up. Big bounce back day for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a bounce back day as well. Like I said, I took a few tough losses. They all count the same though, it's like those days are gonna happen. You go on heaters, on losses.
And the Belmont, I'm gonna go with the underdog here. I think Belmont winner. I'm gonna go with an 8-1 shot to win the Belmont.
Oh, you're gonna say who it is, or you're just gonna say it's an 8-1 shot?
No, I'm gonna tell you who it is. I'm gonna go with Archangel Arcanello. Oh, butchered his word. Butchered the name. Arcangelo is the name of the horse. The number 3 horse. He's won his last 2 races. He won the Peter Pan Stakes at Belmont already earlier this year. About a month ago, he won that Peter Pan Stakes. And this is a horse that loves this distance. He won that the last time out at a mile and a half or a mile and an eighth, and this one goes a mile and a half. and I think that extra length, definitely with not a lot of pace with the horses here in this race. So go with the number 3. He's at 8-1. I think he wins the Belmont. Have the number 6 horse. 3, 6, 8 is what I'm going with in the Belmont.
How many horses are in the field? I haven't even looked at the race yet.
There is 9 horses in the field.
Oh, this should be a good betting race then.
Yep. This horse 8-1. I think he comes in slips under the radar of the top 2 horses. You got Forte in there, Angel Empire, all the big names that we've heard in the last 2 legs of the Kentucky Derby races.
I can just have one word of advice for all of our unmarried men in our audience. Marry a woman that can pick horses, man. My wife can pick them like no one's business. So, not a bad thing to have. It's like you could be having that bad day in Vegas. She hits that IRS ticket on a trifecta, and it's all of a sudden everything just turns right around. So,
well, because these are the days. There's so much. There's so much money in the pools. Right, this is what happens because people are just out for fun and they're just betting.
There's no bad horses in races like this. It's kind of like Breeders' Cup Day. There's no bad horses. So always a ton of value out there.
Well, yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it where the long shot has come in to win very recently. So definitely going with a nice 8-1. I like it. Number 3.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Definitely. Have yourself a good day. See you tomorrow.
All right. That was Rod Zawacky up with the Panthers and a Belmont pick. Crazy stuff. We'll go to Wayne next. What's happening, Wayne?
What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing. We normally go to Al Ninos and then Wayne. It's kind of like we have this order, but it's like, you know what? Let's mix it up today. So what the hell, man? It's my show. Gonna do it in my style. You know, I don't know how many of these I have left in me, so you never know, man. I could have said, it's like they'll ask me like in a few years, you have any regrets? It's like, back on June 10th, I could have gone Wayne first, and I went stuck with Al. But anyways, how's it going?
Everything's going well, man. I can't complain. Going on yesterday, best bet won, but had 3 other bets outside of that, and they were not that good. Bunch of 1-run lost games, but nothing to mope about. Bounce back today and get right.
It wasn't, across the board. I'm honest, about things, and I never really sit here and pat ourselves on the backs or kick ourselves too bad. Yesterday, I would say wasn't our best day at Pick Dogs, overall top to bottom. Wasn't our best day. We had cappers that had winning days. We had a lot of cappers that didn't have winning days. But overall, not like one of those days where it was like everybody was winning everything. But we had a ton of those this week. I mean, we had a ton. So it's going to happen. And I think, when you have people like pick at the level that our handicappers pick, it's an opportunity maybe even to buy low, and you get in because there's no way that it's going to happen, 2 days in a row.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took yesterday. I had been on a pretty good 2-week stretch. So yesterday wasn't nothing to losing 2 units at how many units I've been stacking up. Definitely wasn't nothing to complain about. And I was on Miami, 1-run loss, Blue Jays, 1-run loss. And I actually watched these games and how they lost. They were in the game. So I can't get mad at any time your team is playing hard and they lose. Like as long as they don't give up.
I had Dodgers, Phillies walk-off home run. I had Orioles wild pitch in the run in busting up the run line. I had the Astros lost in like 15 innings. I mean those are 3 brutal losses. Hopefully I got it all out of my system, and that's all part of sports betting, and it's the suffering that makes the winning so much fun. Right? At least that's what I keep telling myself.
The Astros Cleveland game was a stay away and watch for me, and I was glad I did that.
You were watching, man. You were up for a while because it was going and going and going. It was an exciting game, man. I would have rather have won, of course.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, man. I got some boxing here for these guys today. No baseball, for my premium, so I stuck with a boxing play for you. I do have a main pick on this for who's going to win the fight, but I think this is a great way fight that's going to go over and
who's fighting?
Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. We're going to the main event.
I tell everyone who's fighting.
My bad. Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. We heading to the main event. They're fighting in Madison Square Garden. This is a heavy implication fight for the 140.
Hold on a second, because everyone knows here I'm booking action on Racey versus Zawacky. So, anyways, go back.
I got you, man. But yeah, back to that fight, man. I'm actually kind of disappointed that a lot of the boxing fans and some of the casuals aren't up in this fight. This fight is it's an amazing fight. It's in the lines of your Caleb Plant and Benavidez. Some of these major fights we done seen this year. Your your Devins and Loma and your Tank and Ryan. This is a major implication fight at 140. You got Teofimo Lopez, who took over 135. He had a loss that where he lost the belts and he decided to move up, and now he's going to fight Josh Taylor at 140, who swept out this 140 division. The only person who ever did that was Terrence Crawford. So you had a lot of people wanting to see them fight after that, but Terrence Crawford moved up weight class. Josh Taylor is still here reigning at 140. These two fighters, they are excellent fighters, and when fighters fight excellent competition, it's hard to get one of these fighters out of there to quit. Will there be a winner of this fight? Yes, but my point is this fight will go the distance, and we're getting a minus 150 mark at that. The over-under on the rounds is over 10.5. I love that too. That's a gimme to me, but it's minus 200. So I would just go for this fight to be a decision, whether it's either one of them. Long as this fight goes to decision and neither one of them stops each other, we got a minus 150 price at that, and I love that for this fight tonight. I do believe both of these fighters are elite. Both of these fighters do carry power, so it's possible to see a knockdown, but I don't believe none of these fighters will quit on their stool or nothing like that. Man, Josh Taylor is one of the best fighters that Scotland has ever seen. I love to shout out these fighters from different areas, because you think that they don't got dogs down there or warriors down there. But let me tell you, you joke about this dude right here in his skirt, he's going to knock you the hell out. I would love for y'all to go there. Watch Josh Taylor and Teofimo too, man. He's a young fighter, powerful fighter, athletic fighter. The things he's done in this in fighting and in boxing, with how young he is at 135, tremendous, and this is going to be a tremendous fight. I do think it goes the distance. Hop on that minus 150 with me, and let's get this easy money today.
So where is this fight being held?
Madison Square Garden in New York. This is in Teofimo's background. He loves to fight in Madison Square Garden. He normally has his biggest fight on Heisman night, where he wears the Heisman, he does the backflip after the win. He's known to fight in Madison Square Garden.
I wonder if with sports betting now legal in New York, if boxing at the Garden, makes a bit of a comeback. I've seen some really good fights at the Garden over the years. I lived in New York for a while, and I loved going to the fights there. I saw Whitaker fought. It was one of those, number one against number two fights. Whitaker against someone that was at the Paramount Theater. I saw Sugar Ray Leonard against Terry Norris. That was in the main arena at Madison Square. And then, of course,
if you have seen him here, I know you're going over it, but I was going to ask you that because I know you spoke on being in Vegas earlier and stuff like that. How is a fight? I mean, how is like the atmosphere in New York when they're
what's the guy's name? He was the world champ. He was from Brooklyn. He was what was his name? Riddick Bowe. I saw Riddick Bowe fight Michael Dokes at Madison Square Garden, and believe it or not, that was electric. Like Sugar Ray against Terry Norris, that was good, and it was Sugar Ray and all that other stuff. But that Riddick Bowe against Michael Dokes, even though it was a first round knockout, the place was going crazy. It was like, it was really one of the greatest events I've ever seen at Madison Square Garden, and I've seen some good ones. So
that's exciting, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like, Michael Dokes, the ring walk took longer than the fight, but it was, it was one of those. But that's, because Riddick Bowe wanted to fight in front of his home crowd. Back then, the fights were either in Atlantic City, where you never see fights anymore, right? And then why aren't there fights in AC anymore? I wonder. There's never fights in Atlantic City anymore.
I don't know,
And
was there a lot of popular fighters from around that area back then, and there's just not many people that wants to fight in that
I'm
area?
pretty sure Tyson fought Spinks in Atlantic City. I mean, I'm pretty sure that fight was in AC. I know I saw a Holyfield fight in AC. I think it was against Tyson. There used to be a lot of fights there.
Be promotional companies, ain't no telling, Mitch.
What's up with Adrian Bronner? Oh God, you gotta be kidding me!
I heard he did fight yesterday against somebody. I couldn't even pay attention because they said it was like a lawyer. He was fighting like a lawyer, like something like fake celebrity / real boxing match. I didn't even tune in.
His father with the brush.
Yeah, I seen the odds. Adrian Bronner minus 1,800. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not even looking at this. I don't care if he wins, lose. Can't make no money off it.
Who was the Argentinian guy that just beat the crap out of him? He ended up fighting Mayweather a couple of times. Yeah, Marco Medina.
Yeah,
Marco Medina.
He broke his jaw. He broke Adrian Bronner's jaw. There was no more of that pretty boy stuff after that jaw got broke.
No, he beat the crap out of him. It was like he was due, and then he just came into the wrong guy, and that, like no one had heard of Medina at that time, and he just beat the crap out of him.
He moved weight class too far. He started at 130. He fought that guy at like 147. That's about.
But he was never good, Bronner. He was never good. He's from Cincinnati, and there's been some great fighters from Cincinnati, but he's not one of them.
Hey man, he was under Mayweather. They pick their fighters well. They pick who they fight against well, so they can make people look better than they are sometimes.
I lived in Cincinnati. They have Ezard Charles Boulevard. They got it, man. Yeah, there's been some other great fighters from Cincinnati, great ones. But anyways, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
I got my best bet in the MLB. I have, like I said, I had a losing day yesterday, but I have been rolling with my best bet. I won my last 5 of them. Let's make it 6 today. And I have my it's not my dog of the day, but I call it my Cujo Big Dog play of the day, where underdog that I love in the MLB. That I'm on. I put that out there. So 2 MLB bets and my fight pick today. If you guys want to jump on any of those, hop on. Pair me up with these top handicappers and let's cash out for the weekend.
All right, Wayne. Well, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you for having me, Mitch. Y'all take care, Pick Dog fam.
I'm ready to watch the fight right now.
Don't be fired, man. For real. I'm serious.
All right, that was Wayne. I'm excited for boxing. I'm kind of like getting back into boxing. I think like in the post-Pacquiao era, I kind of dropped off a little bit from the boxing, but I think now I'm kind of back in the swing of things. I'm excited about it again. Al Ninos up. What's up?
Hey, Mitch. How's it doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. Just doing my Saturday thing is, getting ready for football season. I know it's only June 10th, but I looked at the schedule and August 3rd the Browns are playing against the Jets, I think. In Cleveland.
I was just telling a friend a few days ago that I was looking at those lines. He called me crazy for looking at them this early, but
it happens before you know it. At this time next month, we'll be doing All-Star break, and then after that, it'll be the stretch to the regular season, and it's like it gets away from you in a hurry. It's like I think what happens to some bettors, it's like the first week of the season or something, the second week of the season, and they kind of just like they're trying to bide their time, and before you know it, it's like it's October.
Yeah, and speaking of which, these week 1 lines, a lot of lines hanging around those key numbers. So it was very tempting not to take a couple shots already, but I had to hold off on those for a bit. But yeah, I might start firing real soon actually on the NFL. Well, still a lot of time for stuff to change and stuff, but
What do you got for everyone today?
We're going to be looking at some baseball here. A game that almost made the cut as a premium pick. I think it's an interesting situation here for a team that's been struggling going up against a team that's been hot. We're looking at the Mets here with Kodai Senga on the mound. Sorry if I said his name wrong there. Going up against Joan Oviedo for the Pirates. And the Mets, as I said, been struggling. Losers of 7 straight, going up against a team that's been playing pretty well, but still without 2 big bats there, without G-Man Choi and O'Neal Cruz. So I think the Mets still have the better lineup right now, and Senga, he had a rough start to the MLB, starting to fix his numbers up a little bit, and I still think he's a better pitcher than what his numbers show, and think he improves his numbers today against this lineup here and the Pirates, who again have been playing pretty well, but I just don't think they're going to keep winning every game, and the Mets can't see them losing every game, and they have a much tougher pitching matchup coming up tomorrow, so I think they need to get the job done. Otherwise, this losing streak could keep going for a bit longer, and don't think that's going to be too good right now for them. So I like the Mets to come up with a much-needed win tonight, or today, this afternoon.
Well, the thing is that Pete Alonso is also out for the Mets as well. So, they're missing a key player too. Really, the only guy who's been hitting anything for the Mets. And Senga, he started the season really strong, but what you see with a lot of these imports, a lot of guys that come up from the minors, all of a sudden the book's out on them in the scouting report, and that's when you start to see the performance deteriorate a little bit. We see this primarily with these Japanese imported players, so I'm not 100% sold on him whatsoever that he's going to be the better man today, because he hasn't shown that he has the ability to do that. I think when we look at we look at some of these other guys too, the Pirates, clearly the better team here as far as record-wise. The Mets have just been, it's a shit show.
Yeah,
There's no other way to say it. When you have that kind of payroll and you can't win games, it's like, where exactly do you go from there? And I think that's where the Mets have this problem, where you have Justin Verlander, you have Max Scherzer, and even in a game where Verlander, brought you to the mountain, the bullpen couldn't get you to the top, against the Braves, where they had them dead to rights. I mean, they had them dead, and could not beat them. So, I don't know. This Pirates team, they're one of those teams, they don't know they're not supposed to win.
They're a team that's not just going to lay down. They're going to come to play every day, and whether they're better players are there or not. And actually, a lot of times you see this in sport, when the better players are down, you see the other players step up, and that's what's going on a little bit in Pittsburgh. I just don't think they're going to, again, win every game. And again, you mentioned the Mets have been one of the most disappointing teams in the league this season, but they can't lose every game either. I mean, they got to get something going here. And again, we might not agree on this starting pitching matchup, but
I don't think starting pitching matters that much in baseball. I think that of all the handicappers, whenever I hear you talk the most, and it's not a dig at you or anything, I mean, it just shows the contrasting styles between us. Starting pitchers go 5 innings, man. It's like to me, it's like, I'm not willing to lay those kind of odds. Like, you take a ton of favorites, and it's like you've been successful with it. But to me, it's like, I don't have the guts to lay those kind of odds, with my primary reasoning being a guy who's only playing 5 innings, and I just don't have that in me.
Well, again, once it gets too juicy, I start taking the run line a bit too, but or just.
But once again, now you're laying, but laying the run line doesn't mitigate your risk as far as exposure, because you're paying still. When you're laying runs, it's the same thing as laying money. There's a cash equivalent to those runs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just laying less juice on my bet. That's all. And,
right, but the thing is, you're laying less juice in the form of the extension on the dollar amount there, but actually that run and a half, there's a money value that's assigned to that run and a half. Right. Like, if you went to go buy those runs, or sell those runs, there's a monetary value that's assigned to those by the sports book. So it's not free. It's not like, I'm just laying a run and a half.
Nothing is,
and I'm paying less.
Nothing is free. I just think there's a value on.
When you're laying runs and negative odds, that's super expensive. That is like, that's paying full retail boat plus the plus the dealer incentive. It's like,
honestly, I try not to do that too often. I've done that a couple times. I'm not gonna say I haven't done that, but
no, we've had to do it because that's today's baseball. But at the same time, it's like,
And then same thing. Once you have to do that, you can always go.
But I never will lay. I've never laid run line with more than like minus 110 or 115.
I mean, again, even if that minus 1.5 is minus 130, say you lay the minus 2.5 too, you're looking at minus 2 around even money, and usually I'm okay. I mean, it's just, to me, it's more like laying a spread in any other sport, and it's fine. I mean, it's kind of a mix between, I don't know, it's a way of, I guess, I don't know, when you bet a lot of sports, I guess it kind of add it all up, mix it all together, and to me, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I just hate losing by that half run, and I think, as you said, there's a price on the run line, there's a price on the money line, and I just think there's also value on the push too. I mean, I know you hate pushes,
Because
but
I don't think scared money doesn't make money.
it's not about scared money. I mean,
Then why would you play for the push?
I mean, same
Why are you
reason.
playing for? Why do you
would
care about a push if it's not scared money?
I mean, what? So if a line is -3 in football, I should just not bet it.
I'm not saying if the
I'm
line
not
is
playing for the push. I think my team's going to win by 2, 3, 4, 5,
well,
10
well,
runs.
well, then you're handicapping that in. If you believe they're going to cover the 3, they're covering the 3. But if you're laying -2 in a baseball game where it's not part of the standard point spread or anything like that, personally, if I can avoid a 3 or a 7 or any of those numbers, I'd do it. I'll do it till the cows come home, man. I'd pay up. I do. You know me. We just have a different style. But anyway, what are you selling today?
Got a lot of baseball going on. Five plays and all. I got
because Romanelli has a similar philosophy on the runs and odds that you do. So, and he's done very well.
As you said, there's a price on it, but I think sometimes that's the right way to go, especially when you're looking at the home teams, when you're not sure you're going to get that bottom of the ninth, or if it's extra innings, once you go up 1, that's it, game's over.
But we had a discussion on the live show yesterday about the Padres Rockies, and I ended up laying 2.5 runs on the show, and that was the play. You got plus money on it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
sometimes you got to do that, and that's fine.
Well, all right. Anyways,
you laid it at home,
right? We got a lot of people here, so we'll argue tomorrow. We'll continue that. This is to be continued. And I'm sure if we asked all the handicappers, half of them would be on your side and half would be on mine.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, different ways to skin the cat, as you'd say. And there's people, as you said,
don't want
hate pushing.
so we won't be talking about skinning cats on the show. But what do you got for sale today?
People like laying juice. Other people like laying runs, and I like doing a bit of both.
I like plus money. What do you got today on the show? For sale?
Got again. 5 plays in all. I got a 3-pack. Then my 2 other plays. My best bet, my $19 Grand Slam, is sold separately, and I got my late play as well, sold separately. So again, best way to go is always one of those long-term or 2-for-1 capper passes if you want all the action.
Maybe we'll do a whole show about betting strategy and bankroll management. We'll just duke it out for an hour. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Next up, David Racey. It was about 6 minutes too much El Ninos for me. What do you got going on, David?
Not much, Mitch. I was on the same Orioles and Astros disasters yesterday as you.
God, man. It's like it just makes you want to puke, as they say,
Especially because Houston had 2 separate 4-run leads, so I'm thinking, we got this.
Well, the Astros also got me in Toronto on the game where they had the bases loaded, 1 in and nobody out, and they only scored 2 runs in that inning, and that was the only 2 runs they had the entire game. Jose Abreu gets picked off second base with a runner on first as well, and nobody out in the 8th inning.
Yeah, they had so many people on the bases in that game too. Just that was a crazy one. But yeah, it was a rough day for me on the diamond yesterday. I've been killing it in baseball the last few weeks, but yesterday brought me back down to earth. That's for sure.
Well, how's everything else going?
Everything's going good. Today I'm looking at the Dodgers and Phillies. We got 2 solid teams here. Dodgers, though, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. They've had some issues pitching, to say the least, but they have been scoring a good amount of runs. They've averaged 5.1 runs in their last 6 games. So even though they've lost 5 of the 6, the offense is still doing the job. Today they're starting Bobby Miller. And Miller's pitched pretty solid through a few starts this year. He's allowed 2 earned runs over 17 innings of work, and he's looked very impressive. Philadelphia has won 6 games in a row. And 3 of those wins came against my Tigers, which I might be convinced the Little League team could beat at this point. So he can't take too much credit to them for that. But the Phillies offense has had some issues this year, and I think they're going to struggle with Miller today. Phillies are starting Aaron Nola, who pitched well against Detroit in his last start, but did struggle in his previous 2 starts, allowing 9 earned runs and 12 hits against the Mets and the Braves. So I like the Dodgers to get the job done here today. We get a decent price on them. Looking at some trends, the Dodgers are 7-3 in their last 10 games against the NL East, and they're 41-16 in their last 57 Saturday games. So play well on Saturdays. The Phillies are 1-5 in their last 6 games against a right-handed starting pitcher, and the Dodgers are 6-2 in these 2 teams' last 8 head-to-head meetings. So I think the Dodgers get the job done here today. I think they get to Nola, and I'm betting on Bobby Miller to continue his strong start.
I think Nola has been one of the most overrated pitchers of the last 6 or 7 years. He had the one good year where he was, underrated, and ever since then, he's been somewhat overrated. And it just happens to some of these guys. And I think seeing him at this price today, it's almost like they're begging for Nola action on this game in Philadelphia, because the Dodgers are, you could say the same thing about the Dodgers, who typically are, big time minus odds no matter who they're playing. So, but I agree with you. I think the Dodgers have the edge in this one. I think, last night's game, they were right there. I think they know they should have won that one. And I think they bounced back in this spot too.
Yeah, they were down 4-1. I know you were on the Dodgers yesterday. They had back-to-back
Thanks
homers.
for reminding me. I appreciate that.
They tied it at 4, and then I think it was the top of the 8th. They had a leadoff double, and then just couldn't do anything with it. And then couldn't score in the 10th inning either. So it's been interesting to watch the Dodgers this year, and they've struggled. And in that NL West, I'm rooting for the Diamondbacks personally, just because I like to see new teams do better. But it is interesting to see the Dodgers. Not that they're bad by any means, they're still above 500, doing well. But it's interesting to see them struggling as much as they are, especially with that pitching staff.
Well, what do you got today at Pick Dogs?
Pick Dogs Premium. I have my MLB 3-pack. I have my MLB Best Bet as well for $19, and I have an NHL Premium play for the Stanley Cup game today. So plenty of action over at Pick Dogs. Like I said, a little bit of a rough day yesterday, but I've been killing baseball this season, and we're looking for a bounce back day today.
Yeah, I'll say it again. I said it before. I'll say it again. I think yesterday was a fairly rough day across the board, and I think those days are going to happen. But we've had way more days with big time, and I think it's probably an opportunity for everybody out there to buy low, because the probability of most of us having days like yesterday, where I lose 3 games, all within one run, and all 3 of them were just ridiculous.
Right.
It happens, it happens. It's the nature of the beast. It's part of sports betting. And if they all went the other way, I wouldn't have been as disappointed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. It's funny how they seem to clump together. You get a couple, it's never like just one tough beat. It's usually 2 or 3, and it just drives you insane.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow or next week, whichever one.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Thanks, Mitch.
David Racey. Up next, we got Eric. Eric, you there? We'll add Eric.
I'm here.
Doing good. All right.
I'm getting good. I wore this for you.
I see it. I saw it in the in your video, and I noticed it, of course, right away.
So great story. Before we get into this game, I'm in Honolulu. I leave the bar at 2 a.m. I go crash in the bar. I'm visiting a client. He flies me out. This is years ago, like 5-10 years ago. Next thing, I get a knock on the door at 5 a.m. I've only been sleeping for like 2 hours. He goes, "Come on, we got to go watch the NFL games." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Come on." He drags me to Duke's at 5 a.m. to start watching the NFL games. I don't know how you guys in Hawaii do that Sunday morning in Hawaii. That is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. How long did it take you to get used to that?
Not long at all. I'm a morning person. See, a lot of people are, a lot of people are afternoon people or night owls, but I'm a morning person. So it's like, it fits perfectly. My wife and I were just having that same discussion discussion this morning. So the funny thing is that Duke's, the owner of Duke's, belongs to the same club that I do, and
Nice.
the thing is that her husband, who it's they're not, I think it's both their whatever marriages at this point. He's a major club thrower. He's like one of those guys that you don't even want to play with them. It's like, oh crap,
That's
It's
funny.
like, to me, it's like I could care less. I most people, I have to have somebody else keep score because I don't even care that much.
Right,
And,
right.
This guy's like a club thrower. It's like you always know a cart that he's had because the cooler is broken, has been hit by a driver and has like a big broken spot on the outside of it, and the cart guys give him those coolers. It's like intentionally.
I love Hawaii, man, and they got some of the biggest bettors in the world on those islands. The guys that I deal with in my
Ninth Island. Ninth Island is
Wow.
Vegas. That's what they call it. And if you ever get on any of the Honolulu Vegas flights, always 100% packed. But the Dime Club yesterday, I believe, had its first rough day, and it's been, we call it like it is. It's been knocking the cover off the ball. If you've been a longer term member, you're way, way up. So, losing days are going to happen. But
I was listening to you. I was listening to you talking to all the prior cappers, and I guess I'm immune after 35 years, Mitch. First of all, I agree with everything you said regarding your baseball analysis. It's like you're like regurgitating my whole method of baseball. With the starting pitchers and the 5 innings, and the best bet in baseball is +1.5 plus money. The worst bet in baseball is -1.5. Always has been, always will, because you're laying more juice. And like you said, the run lines, you're getting penalized for it. You're paying more money for those runs. But yeah, it was interesting. I got a couple text messages yesterday. On the one channel, on the one Telegram channel, we're down, I think, 1 unit for the week. The dog system has been just absolutely horrible this week. You know what? I'm 90 and 128 plus 8 units on my underdog Dime Club for the season. I repeat, 90 wins, 128 losses, plus 8 units. So I still go back to you said it perfectly. I mean, you literally took the words out of my mouth. You have to embrace the pain, especially if you're betting underdogs, because going into it, you're going to have a losing record and you're going to actually make money.
Yeah, I generally look for the value on the card.
I'm down 38 games for the season.
When I play favorites, it's very, 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 very light ones. You never see me on,
well,
it's a rare day, unless it's just a real tough card and there's nothing. If I have a -165 favorite, it's the only play I have on the whole board.
So my partner, Mike, who's on the website, Mike Saphir, he's actually getting married today at 4:30. And he texted me this morning. He goes, man, anytime there's like a major event going on, he goes, I just, I can't believe it. My phone was blowing up last night. But he said there was a lot of ninth. I didn't watch the games. Miami, Texas. There was a lot of. He lost every game in the late inning. He said that was possible to lose.
Well, the Astros was extra innings. Dodgers was walk off by the Phillies.
I'm bringing it up right now. What did he do?
The Orioles blew the run line on a wild pitch in the 8th.
Milwaukee, Houston, Toronto, and the Yankees. He lost yesterday.
Yeah, all tough ones.
But
yesterday was a tough board, and I happen to be on the wrong side of it. There are days where I'm on the right side of it.
So this is what I figured out when I did the video this morning. It's posted on your website. Mostly, especially if you're a baccarat player, you get a lot of chop. If you look at the last 10 games in baseball, you get a lot of 5 and 5. I have not seen this many streaks in one time. Tampa's won 7 in a row, no chop. Mets have lost 7 in a row, no chop. Detroit's lost 7 in a row, no chop. Atlanta's won 6 in a row, no chop. Phillies won 6 in a row, no chop. Washington's lost 5 in a row, no chop. Colorado's lost 5 in a row, no chop. When you get into these no chop, streaky situations, and you get no reversion to the mean, I love what you said, buy low, sell high. This is when you take the opportunity. And if you watch my video, I basically gave out 4 winners today Texas, Mets, Washington, the Dodgers, because what you're doing is, it is very hard to win 10 games in a row. If you watch my video, if you track this, it is nearly impossible to win or lose 10 games in a row in baseball. So what I always do with all these major betting syndicates, what they do is forget handicapping. Once you start getting long in the tooth, that 7th, 8th, 9th game, you start looking to revert back to the mean and fading them. And you're just looking for good value. So like my complimentary selection on the video was Washington. You got a perfect storm. Atlanta's won 6 in a row. Washington's lost 5 in a row. And you're going to get all the value taking Washington. Whether they win or lose, we're talking value. And I don't know, Mitch, how many clients understand the value of it's better to have value and lose than get lucky and win on the favorites?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the stat that I brought up yesterday on the show, and I'll bring it up a million times. So in 1927, the Yankees had Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Tony Lazzeri, Earl Combs, Mark Koenig, Bob Musial, stacked, right? I mean, absolutely the best team in the history of baseball.
Right.
What was their longest winning streak?
You tell me. I don't know.
They only lost 20 games all season, right? 20-something games all season. Their longest winning streak was 9 games the entire season. I mean, that just tells you how hard it is to streak them together. If the 27 Yankees can only win 9 games in a row, man. Again, the league's a little more watered down now. There's the pitching's more watered down. Pitchers, they go every 5 days or something. Back then, pitchers went every day or every 2 days,
And when you look at teams, and you're talking about streaks, and when you look at most of these teams, like obviously the most profitable team in baseball is my team, the Baltimore Orioles. 39. They're actually more profitable than Tampa Bay, believe it or not. One's 47-19, one's 39-24, or they might be around even. But when I look at the Orioles, for instance, today, somebody asked me about them. They're laying like 60 cents against Kansas City. They're 23-7 as a favorite, but I just can't do it. You would think it would be an easy lay. I just can't lay that price on it. I don't
love Cole Irvin today against that Royals team, but what do you got? So one more streak that I want to talk about. 1998 New York Yankees, 114 wins for that team. Longest win streak was 10 for them that season.
So it's funny that 10 number has been the nemesis of all these teams. I don't know if psychologically when they win 10 or lose 10, it is easier to lose more than 10 than it is to win 10 because I think they feel the pressure. But when you look at Tampa Bay, and really when you look at it, before you let me go, look at the lines. As you get further into the closer to 10, they start making it. Why are they only laying 15 cents, Tampa Bay? Well, because the line makers know they're getting long. It's getting long in the tooth. You would think that you should be laying 200 on Tampa Bay. So they've won 7 in a row. They're laying this big, but you'll see as you get closer, the lines actually come down. But I have one premium play on the site today. My complimentary selection, as I said, is Washington on that revert to the mean, lost 5 in a row against Atlanta, plus the 60 cents or 70 cents, depending upon whether you have a 10 cent or 20 cents line. And then, by the way, since you mentioned it, I am 5 minutes from Pimlico Racetrack, and I am going to give you guys my mother. You said wife. You said wife. I'm going to give you mom's horse racing. Are you ready for mom's winner?
Sure.
Mom has made me more money than I can imagine. Race 12, number 8, Angel of Fire, with an exacta, trifecta, and superfecta, key the 8 over the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. Mom knows more about horses than I'll ever know on my pinky. So Angel of Fire, yeah, it's the favorite, 7-2, but she's kinging it on an exacta, trifecta, and superfecta. I got to tell you, man, born and bred in Baltimore, I've gone to every Preakness. I have never handicapped a winner. My mom tells me I like this name of this team. I heard you talking about your wife. I like the name. I like the name of this horse, and I'm cashing tickets. I don't know if your wife is the same. She just picks it by the name or what?
I think now she kind of knows the trainers and jockeys too, but generally she goes by the names, and My wife likes to go to the races. She looks at the people when they are, saddling up the horse and,
Right.
who's with who. And she sees who's having a good time and all that stuff. And that's she generally goes with those people.
That's it. So, like I said, enjoy the
Insane.
race.
Yeah.
Enjoy the race. Hopefully, your wife or my mom picks some winners, and I'm going to go over to Mike's wedding at 4, and we'll see if his new wife can start
Wish him
picking
all.
winners.
Wish him all congratulations from all of us at your pick dogs.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Eric. All right. That was Eric. Up next, we'll bring in Ron Romanelli. He's been sitting around for a while. He's been in and out back there. Ron, little talk there about the winning streaks. I know most of these winning streaks before your day. For us, for most of the people that watch this show, maybe maybe the little generation before yours and mine, it was that Oakland A's Billy Ball winning streak. I think it was 2002, 20 games. And then, the forgotten winning streak was just a few years ago in 2017. That was Cleveland put together 22 wins in a row. They did that late in the season, making that run. That's when they do it. That's when the Guardians do it. It's late in the season. And Tristan McKenzie back in action once again. Love me some Tristan McKenzie. Anyways, how's everything going with you?
And things are going good. Ready to go for a full day of baseball.
We had a winner yesterday with your rundown play. Starting to heat up a little bit. You had a little bit of a rough patch. I mean, we're honest here. And, not going to win them all. But the thing is, it's a long season. And at the end of the day, if you can go 100 and 162, well, it makes you a 100-game winner. That's all we're trying to do here at Pick Dogs.
Yeah.
But, any notes from what's going on out there in baseball? I know Eric brought up an interesting point. We got Cole Irvin now in Baltimore up against Singer. Is this your game?
No, the Washington.
You got
Braves.
a premium on this one? Kansas
No.
City, Baltimore. What do you think about that one? I have to agree with him. I've been on the Orioles a ton this season. I really struggle with them in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I gave out the Orioles on the rundown without the pitching information. I mentioned I'd update if when the Orioles announced their starter. Cole Irvin's not my favorite guy. I've faded him quite a bit over the last couple of years, and obviously not pitching well in his limited work this year. But I guess I would lean towards the over. Brady Singer hasn't been great this season, 6.45 ERA. Worst numbers on the road, just under 7. So I think Baltimore, if they're going to win this game, it's going to be probably, a shootout or it's a high-scoring game. So maybe take the over. I think if this game is close late, then I think Kansas City's chances are gone. I think the Orioles have the much better bullpen. So I still lean towards the Orioles and the over.
All right. Well, what do you got today for us for your free pick?
Yeah, I'm looking at another game I think is going to be pretty high scoring. I like the over in Washington and Atlanta. You got two lefties on the mound. And this one, you got Mackenzie Gore and you've got Schuster. And, we look at both of these teams offensively. In the last 30 days, the Braves are number 2 in baseball in OPS and number 2 in isolated power against lefties. But the Nationals aren't too bad themselves, even though they haven't played the best baseball in general. They're 15th in isolated power and they're 7th in team OPS against lefties. Both of these teams have a below 20% strikeout rate against lefties in the last 30 days. So they're not striking out. They're getting on base. They're hitting the long ball, getting extra base hits. So that's, a good start to look for an over. And then you have two starting pitchers that, Mackenzie Gore's pitched well this year, but more so against teams that don't hit lefties very well. When you look at the teams that he struggled against this year, teams like the Phillies, the Padres, the Marlins, teams that hit lefties above average compared to the rest of the league. So I do think Gore on the road struggles in this spot. And I do think Schuster, 4.99 ERA, so just below 5 this season. I also see him struggling in this game. He's a guy that only 21 strikeouts in 30 2/3 innings. We already mentioned the Nationals do a good job at limiting those strikeouts. He has control issues. He's walked 7 batters in his last 2 games. So I think both teams get on the board early and often. The Braves lineup has just been going crazy lately. We saw what they did in that Mets game with the big comeback victory. And the Nationals bullpen's been one of the worst in baseball, if not the worst in baseball this year. In the last 30 days, they've just below 6 ERA, one of the bad expected numbers as well, xFIP and Sierra. The Braves, not much better. I mean, their ERA isn't bad, but their expected numbers aren't the best. So I think we see scoring from start to finish in this one. I'm going to take the over. Even though it's a steep total, I still think we get there.
So there we go. So the Braves yesterday pitched Smith Shawver. This guy, when I saw him the first time when he came in at the last game, they said, this guy's 19 years old or something, 20 years old, right? It's like comes in, pitches middle relief, and it's like, this guy's a star, right? I mean, just absolutely sensational. I haven't seen a guy like this. Different style, but it's like the first time I ever saw Chris Sale, he came in a similar situation like that. And it was like, I remember, watching the White Sox game, I was in Chicago and they said, oh, Chris Sale, first one from his draft class to make the majors, throws his first pitch. And they said, and Hawk says, well, now we know why. It's like, and I think with this Smith Shawver, I think what we see is like when they say, well, here's a 19-year-old kid or 20. I think he's either 19 or 20.
He's 20. Yep.
20. And they said, well, he's 20 years old. Here he is making his major league debut. You see him throw a couple innings. And I tell you what, man, it's not just that he has like this overpowering stuff or anything like that. He also manages the game out there. It's like he gets into a little bit of trouble and he doesn't freak out. He's not wild pitching things and, letting the situation overcome. He's excited and everybody's encouraging him. And, they're just like, super excited to have him around. I think I never saw this guy coming, I never. It's like the Braves grow pitchers on trees, and this guy is just another one. I mean, something to watch out for. 5.1 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, none of those earned, 2 walks, and just 2 strikeouts. So, like I said, not overpowering stuff, not big strikeout guy, but they've had another guy like that before, and he worked out pretty well.
Yeah, he did pretty good.
Yeah, Greg Maddux. But anyways, what do you got cooking today at Pick Dogs?
Yeah, we got my $19 rundown best bet. Like Mitch mentioned, we had a winner yesterday with the San Diego Padres and looking to grab another W today. And also got I don't think I put it up yet, but I got my play in the NHL Stanley Cup as well for the finals tonight.
What do you think about the Yankees fans crying about Aaron Judge being out of the lineup? You going to shed a tear for these guys or what?
Where did you see them crying?
Well, they've been crying ever since he's been out. That's the big excuse why they stink.
Oh, well, where do you see that?
Everywhere. You ever read the YouTube? Well, that's why you ever see Ron with the comeback on the YouTube comments. It's always me thrown under the bus there. But
you got a big little tiffy with the Miami Heat, and somebody said, "Don't listen to Ron; he's a fool," or something like that. And I said, "It wasn't on me. You think I'm going to be talking about the Miami Heat in the rundown comments?"
I put my name next to my comments. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of the day. Let's make it a winner.
All righty, Mitch.
Ron Romanelli. Up next, we got Big Al. What's happening?
Hey, how are you, Mitch?
Good. Wasn't sure you were going to make it, but
yeah, I had a busy morning, but I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Heard about my big lottery winnings. Won a piece of that. I won Mega Millions last night. $6.
Oh my God. Congratulations.
$6.
Oh.
Cash money. It's enough for $1 try box for today's Belmont.
Yeah. I was listening to Eric earlier. I got to listen to a few people. I heard David and Eric and Ron, but I did want to take, I don't know if you caught it or if any of the people listening, if their ears perked up when Eric said something, but I didn't agree with something he said. He said in your conversation, it's better to lose with value than to get a lucky win. That's completely wrong.
No, I'd way rather win. I'd way rather win.
Yeah. I mean, like this whole, I get into this talk with all these, this whole newfangled, when I say newfangled, you never heard about this, 30 years ago, but everyone wants to talk about closing line value and all this crap. The most important thing in sports betting is return on investment. It's not closing line value. I mean, closing line value will correlate with ROI, but it's not a substitute. It's not better. Here's an example.
Well, you have to win. You have to win. You have to win. You have to win. But I would rather, for me, I'd rather have to win once to return a profit than have to win 3 times. No.
I understand. You don't want to lay juice or whatever.
Right. My thing is here's my philosophy.
That's it.
My philosophy is I can hit 50% in my sleep. Okay. If I can come together with a portfolio of picks where I go 50-50 and have a positive return on the day, I'll do that all day long. If I can hit 75% or more, or even more on a day, well, then it's a great day for me.
Yeah,
and it's
but that's a completely different thing than what Eric was alluding to. What he was alluding to, like for example, we talked a few weeks back in that championship game in the XFL with DC and Arlington, right? So the line opened at -6, it closed at -9.5 for DC. I put out my play early. I had, I didn't have value, as it turned out. Usually I do, actually. Usually I do get a good number, but this was one of the instances where I didn't. And I was sitting on Arlington +6 when the closing line was +9.5. Well, Arlington blew the shit out of them. So he's trying to say, well, you'd rather lose with DC at -6 when the line's closing at 9.5 than win with Arlington at +6. No, you'd rather win with Arlington at +6. And if you
I'd always rather win than lose.
Of course. I mean, it's an absurd thing to say you'd rather lose with value. And, you take a look at how the value's gone in the USFL and XFL this season, this team, if you're getting quote unquote value, well, you're being taken to the cleaners because the money this year in the USFL and XFL games combined is 22 and 43 with 4 pushes. So at the end of the day, you got to win. You got to handicap the games. You got to be a good handicapper. And getting value is a big part of it, but it's not everything. And ROI is more important.
It's not everything. And like I had the same discussion with Al Ninos. You missed that discussion. I had the same discussion with him. And because I think that some of these strategies, you can win and you can put together a winning record and you can even win over a time period. But a lot of these strategies, especially picking a lot of favorites and laying runs and odds a lot. I'm not saying, here and there and picking the spots and there's nothing on the board. I have guys with long-term packages. I got to get them something. And really, I hate having to do this, but this is all I've got to work with. I like it enough that it's my best play of the day, whatever. Right. I think that's all fine and well, but I think if you're laying big odds and runs and odds, you can put yourself in a position where you need to win 75 to 80% of your games to turn a profit. And that is a tough thing to do. I just think it's, at least for me, I can't win at that rate. I know I can't. I've been doing it long enough that it's like I'm mid-50s,
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, with the point spread sports, obviously, getting value is a huge part of winning.
Yeah, well, point spread sports is different because now we're looking at a number where there's certain numbers like the 2.5, 3. I mean, there's different values at different numbers, right? Like if you're laying, you'd rather lay 2.5 than 3, right? And it's like if you're getting, you'd rather get 3.5 than 3. So there's different numbers where there's different value, and that half a point has a different value in that instance than say at like 5, 5.5, 4.5, 9, 8.5.
But at the end of the day, I'd rather not have good closing line value on a game and win than get.
Oh no, I'd always rather win than lose. I'd always rather
win. So we could move on. I was thinking about talking about a baseball game, but then also since there's no NBA this week, and I was also thinking maybe why don't I just talk about the game on Monday? The Game 5 between Heat and Denver. I mean, it's whatever you want. You guys have been talking about baseball all day. I'm more than happy.
Fine. I'm up for it. No one's talked about this game. As a Heat fan, I'm depressed. But like I said, I always say, if I'm gonna lose, I'd rather just really lose than lose on a bad call, a fluke play, and kind of weird thing like that. It's like I feel in last night's game, we lost to a team that played better than us. I don't know if they're the better team, but they've been playing better than us, and maybe they have some better players than us. And I think we saw it deeper on the bench. Teams coming back from 3-1 is a lot better chance than 3-0. That's for sure.
That is, Gibraltar's going crazy. I should try to make this quick. Hold on 1 second. I had Miami yesterday. I lost. That ended my 8-game NBA win streak, so I apologize for that. But I do like the total in Game 5. I've already posted that at Pick Dog, so I hope to bounce back with the over/under. But as far as the side goes, I like Miami plus the 9, Mitch. You've got a situation here where a team's down exactly 2 games in a series. So you're going to either be down 3 games to 1 or 2 games to none. And they're also off back-to-back blowout losses. So when you get a team in the NBA that's down exactly 2 games in a series, that's off back-to-back losses by more than 10 points, they've covered 60.4% over the last 33 years. The Miami Heat have also been strong when they're off a loss versus, when they're off back-to-back losses versus an opponent off a win. They've covered 67%, I think 64-32 in that situation, including 17-5 when priced from +6.5 to +10. I like the +9 here. I think you're probably going to, no, I shouldn't say probably. I'm guessing it's going to come down, to 8.5 by game time. We'll see. But regardless, I like Miami plus the 9.
I'm going Miami money line plus 310 on the game. So it really does, to me, it's the way that I figure, at least with my, where I land in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, you had a great NBA season overall. I had a really, really choppy one, but I was able to turn around and get to the bottom.
I don't disagree with your plus 310, by the way.
But I tell you what, at this point, I can't end up negative on the season. So I might as well go the plus 310.
One of the things I like to do in that situation is kind of go half and half, in playoff games, especially because we know that when teams cover, they generally win. So I don't think it's a bad strategy to take Miami on the money line. I just would probably put half of it on the, +9 and half of it on the plus 310. So I don't.
But the thing in this situation, they are my team. So it's like, I'm going to be, I'm there anyway. So
I hear you.
If it was a different situation, I probably would feel differently about it. But they've treated me well all playoffs, so I can't really complain. That Buck series was just a cleanup, and same thing in Boston. Even though they lost 3 games, they had won some ones at some pretty big money there. So we'll take them there. But it's always disappointing to lose. But like I say, if you're going to lose to the better team, and you leave it at that. And you say, you know what, an 8 seed that made the finals, maybe they have some guys to switch out and some things to do. And, Victor Oladipo's healthy and Harrow's healthy. Maybe it's different, but, this is what they had, and this is what they went to battle with, and it wasn't good enough. But, it's not over till it's over. So we'll have to see.
It's not over till
they got the new Yogi Berra movie out. I haven't seen it yet. I'm dying to see it.
I've heard about it.
Oh, they have it. It's called "It's Not Over Till It's Over."
Oh,
it's like a doc. It's at theaters, but it's also on like Amazon. But you have to pay. It's one of those ones you have to pay, and it's like $20 or something. But it's like eventually it'll be free. But it has like all people from his family, where they're talking about his I guess his granddaughter was with him at Yankee Stadium, and they said, or at the All-Star game, and they said, these are the 4 greatest living players, right now. And it was Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax, forget who the other 2 were. It might have been Ted Williams.
Bob Gibson, or
no, it was Ted Williams, and then it was somebody else. And she's like, she looked at her, Yogi's out there, and she's like, are you dead yet or something? And he's like, are you dead? And he said, not yet. And I guess like they showed the stats, just, this is on the preview, and it's like he has more World Series than all those guys combined. He has more MVPs than all those guys combined. He has more, all these different stats, but he never gets the notoriety that those other guys get because he's not like the blonde hair, blue-eyed Yankee, So kind of like he was Jackie Robinson before Jackie Robinson. He was, he paved the way for Jackie Robinson. And it's interesting, because, Yogi, he's one of those guys that everybody likes, right? So I'm excited.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. My kids have been talking about the new movie Elemental, which opens next weekend. So
I haven't heard about that one, but
that's what all the the 6-year-olds are talking about.
My favorite Yogiism is about, he goes, no one goes to that restaurant anymore. It's too crowded.
Right. There's so many of them.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Well, what do you got today at Pick Dogs?
I've got hockey. I've got one playing baseball. I've got the Belmont Stakes plus. Unusual for me, I'm also going to give out an exotic. I've got an exacta box along with the Belmont Stakes winner. And I've already posted, as I mentioned, for Monday's NBA totals play. It's my NBA total of the month. Then I've got my USFL game of the week on Sunday. So lots of good stuff. And Walter is okay.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Someone just sent me something. It's like, this is yesterday's games, you know? It's like a lot of people send me stuff via text, like late breaking information and stuff. And it's like, I'm looking at the starting pitchers. It's these are yesterday's games.
Oh,
You know?
okay. Well,
It's like, doesn't help.
Did he get any winners?
I win 100% of the games I get to pick.
No, I'm just kidding. Some of these guys, sometimes people can't pick yesterday's games right.
I think yesterday's a tough day for everybody.
Yeah, I had the Rangers plus $1.45 against Tampa. Took it on the chin there, and then I had the Heat, so I was 0-2 yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not gonna continue. It was just, for me, it was just one of those days. It's like every 1-run game that was decided late, I was on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, I'd rather much lose the blowout on the Rangers.
Yeah,
I lost two blowouts. I was happy.
That was like last Sunday for me. I took Seattle against the Rangers, and it was like I just turned it off in the third inning, pretended like it just never happened. That's where my bankroll was. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Walter's ready to go. Thanks for joining us, though.
Thanks for having me.
Al McMordie up next. Got 2 guys left. Chris Ruffolo. Chris, what's happening?
Not much. Just enjoying all the banter from all the cappers this morning. How you doing?
Good. I love banter.
So do I. I'm always a fan of the banter.
Love some banter. Al Ninos got me early, so still recovering from the Ninos segment. It was a lot of Al Ninos for one show. I mean, the guy doesn't say anything. You got to like squeeze words out of him. And all of a sudden, he goes out on the rampage on me there.
I saw you didn't know how to react. You didn't know how to.
I didn't know he could speak in complete sentences. He got me. What do you got cooking? What do you got cooking today?
You're in uncharted territory with him. For my game today, I'm looking at this matchup between the Reds and the Cardinals, and I'm gonna go back to the well with the Cincinnati Reds and the value here today. I really liked what I saw from Andrew Abbott in his debut. 6 strikeouts. He did give up 4 walks, but he only gave up the 1 hit over 6 shutout innings. I was really impressed that he was able to do that at hitter-friendly Great American. Miles Michaelis, and a pitcher that I don't really look to back all that much. Last time we saw him at Cincinnati, he did throw 7 shutout innings earlier this season, but still a 4.30 ERA in his last 5 starts against the Reds going back to last season. And in the last 2 weeks, the Cincinnati Reds 3rd in baseball in team OPS against right-handed pitching, while the St. Louis Cardinals dead last in team OPS against lefties. So I think this is a spot where the Cincinnati Reds could get some revenge. Like I said, I liked what I saw from Andrew Abbott. And I think he can guide into a win here and some nice plus money. I think I'm still seeing around plus 145, plus 150. So I'll take the Cincinnati Reds in this one.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of the youth movement in Cincinnati. It's starting to look pretty good. The Reds made that big move last year, trading away Castillo. And so they got a lot in the pipeline here coming down. But he is Andrew Abbott actually, is a guy the Reds drafted. And just 2 years ago. So we talked about Smith Shriver for the Braves. Andrew Abbott, pretty much the same situation here. 24 years old though, but 2nd round pick in 2021 because he played college ball at Virginia, which is a good college baseball. So.
Yeah, like I said, I was just really impressed. I want to see him get the walks down, get the control under control, but what more can you ask for? 6 1/3 innings in your debut at Great American against a decent Brewers lineup. Cardinals hit well yesterday, but consistent hitting hasn't been something that the Cardinals have necessarily been known for this season.
What do you got cooking today?
Today at Pick Dogs Premium, I got my $19 MLB pick-off play. Also got an MLB triple play, that pick-off play not included. So if you want all the action today, including my my NHL best bet, you got to hop on a long-term pass, and it's the best value. Still got my Wild Weekend all-access pass up for $69 for 3 days.
So you have a pick on the NHL?
I do, yeah.
Who is it?
I know it's on the premium side. You have to sign up to find out.
All right, just checking. I'm on the Panthers. Anyways, thanks, Chris, for joining us.
Appreciate it. See you.
All right, last but not least, Jay Briggs. He is the cleanup hitter. What's happening, Jay?
What's happening? Last but not least, ready to clean it up.
You got on my heat, and
no, I jinxed
me.
I took them back to back at home. I don't know what got into me, man.
Well, you weren't alone in game 3. You might have been alone, but in game 4, you were not alone. I mean, even the line moved that way, like everything.
Yeah.
And it's just, man, they're just not getting it done. I think we saw the Heat miss in game 4 shots they hadn't missed all series long, and Bam missing from inside the paint.
Yeah.
But once again, Jimmy Butler missing a few free throws here and there. So it's like,
yep,
not gonna be Bam missing free
those
throws.
few things. I kind of caught the drift when Jimmy missed those 2 free throws at the end of the half.
Yep. Yep, we're in trouble because what happens is, while those aren't exactly what decides the game, it's almost like we talk about in soccer and hockey and sports like that, where it's like your strategy changes. Football happens too. You go down by 2 touchdowns as the guy throws the pick 6 in the 3-point game. Now you're down by 10. So now you got to throw. And it's like the other team knows this. So they get the interceptions, they get the sacks, and it gets away from you. And we saw the same thing in last night's game where the Heat really, they didn't have the answers. And, generally they've been able to come back down on the other end, especially in the fourth quarter, and hit those threes. And they had the 3 shots. They just missed them. And they went on runs and, couldn't finish them. Jokic was out. They got it down to 6. Jimmy had a chance to get it all the way down to 5 at one point, or 4 if he hits a 3, and he misses a layup, Yep. And they come back on the other end and hit the 3. And that's, it's just dagger. It goes from possibly 5 or 4, and now it's 10.
Yep. Tough loss for Miami in Miami last night.
I'm happy to be there, but at the same time, I kind of would wish that
I've heard that.
I want to win
all year. I've heard that from you all year.
I was happy to be there in college with the
Canes,
Hurricanes, but
now you're the Panthers, the Heat. Man.
Yeah, look at the teams that made it there.
I know. I'm just your chops.
The Heat were underdog. I mean, the Hurricanes, they were 2-point favorites over Drake in the opening round. Underdogs every single game. Indiana, Houston, right? I mean, big time teams. They knocked them out. They went all the way to the Final Four as dogs in every game. Then same thing with the Heat, 8th seed, dogs against the Bucks every game. Dogs against the Celtics almost every game, even at home. Even the one that they lost, where the Celtics tipped it in at the last second, they still covered because they were home dogs in that one. And then, in this series too, gigantic dogs. And look at game 5, almost 10 points again there. Then you look at the Panthers, 8th seed once again.
Your Miami soccer team, y'all just got Messi down there. So
yeah, but Toronto,
Miami
right?
sports, they looking good. We'll see if
hockey against the Bruins, dogs every game against Toronto, dogs every game, right? Yeah. So it's like the Miami teams, if you bet them on the money line in the NCAA tournament, them and Florida Atlantic, both of them South Florida teams, bet both those teams in the NCAA tournament. You bet the South Florida teams in the NHL, you bet the South Florida teams in the NBA in the postseason. You are rolling in it. And that's why my bankroll is good. And that's why we're going to the fight.
Yes, sir, man. I just had to mess with you.
It's all good. No, I know, because at a certain point you got to be more. You got to get a little more than just happy to be there. It's like for me, the one that I care about the least is the Panthers, and that one I was probably the one that's going to hit.
Yeah. They got a huge game today. I don't have a pick on that one. It's tough. I lean Panthers.
Well, the home teams won like 8 in a row.
Yeah.
Those teams have played each other.
Vegas, they hurt my feelings last round. So It's hard to pick against them. But today I'm going to baseball, man. I'm going to a pitcher that has kind of let me down this year as well. But I was talking bad about him last week too. But I kind of keep thinking that he's going to bounce back. And I'm hoping today's the bounce back game. It just missed my premium because I haven't seen him from him. But I do think we should bet it today, man. Give me the Marlins on the money line, man. Mandy, man, what are you doing? Sandy Alcantara, we need a bounce back game from you today, man. On the other side, Michael Kopech, he has been solid. Both teams are rolling. They've won 4 of their last 5. Yeah, the Marlins just came off of the A's and the Royals, but I have liked what I've seen from their offense, and I think if their offense can just do enough today against Michael Kopech, who has been solid, I think the Marlins, whose offense, we got to give them some credit this year, is much better than last year. I'm liking the money Marlins this year. I think this is a spot where they stack another win. I think Sandy finally has a very solid outing. Fading the White Sox today. I'm taking the Miami Marlins on the road on the money line.
Jay going with another Miami team, taking the Miami Marlins. It has been a rough year for Sandy, and the rest of the Marlins pitching staff has kind of elevated that because the Marlins, if the season ended today, they're in. And on the other side of it, for the White Sox, Michael Kopech, this guy had such a high side when he was traded to the White Sox. I think the expectations for that to happen really fast kind of got ahead of him. He is a little bit of a head case. He did not pitch in the COVID season. He took some lumps earlier this season, but now we're starting to really see what everybody was talking about.
Yeah, he's been solid last year.
Yeah, when you trade Chris Sale for a guy, they must see something. So it was Chris Sale for Moncada, and Kopech was the trade. And everybody thought at the time that the White Sox won that trade. And, they have to start to believe that maybe they have. White Sox 7-3 in their last 10, which, while for most teams, you look at it and you say, oh, man, they're way up the track. They have this record. They're only 3.5 games behind the Twins in the American League Central at this point. So, the Twins at 500. This could be like the NCAA tournament. We have a team with a losing record that makes the baseball playoff.
Yes, sir. And conversation from earlier and kind of this comment right here. I don't know if Sandy can bounce back against Oakland. Speaking on Oakland, hey, might be time to kind of start looking at some plus money run lines with the A's. I kind of like what they've been doing recently. Got to give them some credit. Baseball is not one of those seasons where a team is going to be terrible the entire stretch. Me and Mitch kind of talked about that, I think, last week when we were fading the A's, but they've had a solid week, and hey,
I won some money against that when they played the Braves in that series in Oakland. I kind of jumped on them a few times in that series, and then I lost the third game of that series. I didn't get them though in this in last night in Milwaukee. But
I didn't either, and I was kind of upset about it because me and my friend were talking about it. But
it's not just because here, this is like the strategy that I was talking with Big Al about. It's like if I can go 500 and make money, that's good. So if the A's, if they're 5-5 in their last 10 games, they're way up. Because they've been plus 200 a lot of those times. It's like winning 2 games.
Yep.
But I also agree with him that I would way rather win a bet than lose.
See, now I'm kind of more like Al Ninos on, with the conversation y'all were earlier. I've been finding more success kind of doing it that way. But I think it's, it's handicapping. There's very different ways.
Everyone has their own way of doing it. But for me, it's like I say, if I can hit 50% and turn a profit.
I get it for sure. I get that for sure.
I can pick 50%. Yeah. I might have some picks in there that are way off the wall. And like I had Seattle against the Rangers last Sunday. I know you didn't have that one, but it's like, they got slaughtered. But if I hit that, I've got a pitcher with you want to just look at starting pitching. I have a pitcher with about a 3 ERA, getting plus 165 odds in a game the night after that they gave up 20. So it's like they're not going to give up 20 again. Well, they give up like 17 or something instead, but it wasn't 20, and it was like so I just figured that was probably a good shot and that I was going to get really good value there because of the 20 that they gave up the night before. It didn't work out, but I've had other spots where it does. So it's like when you lose one of those, it's only minus 100. And then, it just takes, if you hit one of those, like it's kind of like with the Heat. I hit that plus 310 in Denver in game 2. So I'm 1-3 in the series. I'm still ahead.
Yep.
I'm still up 110 units or 1.1. I'm still up.
So it's all different styles. This is how you do it. Yes, sir.
Anyways, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
I got 2 plays for sale. I have both in Major League Baseball. My $19 Major League Baseball player of the day. Dropped it yesterday with my Rangers, man. They got did in. I turned it off 3rd inning too, man. I fell for it. I bash Heaney every time I talk about him, but he had been solid over his last few outings. And then 2 outs, 3rd inning, took yard. I said, it's ball game. Turn this shit off, man. But it happened, man. We'll get back on the horse today. I got my favorite play in Major League Baseball today, and I have another play in Major League Baseball. So 2 plays for me. Trying to keep it rolling. Still up over like 800 units in Major League Baseball. So get back on track today. And then
it was almost like the Rays were waiting for that one.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling too.
It was like they kind of have been, back and forth over the last, not nearly as good as they were at the start of the season, but still very, very good. It was kind of like they were waiting for that one, and they kind of like, it's like the game came out and it was like, oh man, this looks like the Rays from week 1, all over again is what it started to look like. And it's like, they're whooping it up and, doing the whole thing, when they're running around the bases and all 6 people that go to the Rays games were going crazy.
I think today's game is going to be really interesting. Evaldi has been arguably a top 5 pitcher this season, but the Rays, we know how lethal their offense is and how lethal it looked yesterday. So we'll see if the Rangers bats, they've been kind of slipping a little bit recently as well. So we'll see.
The difference between these 2 teams. So Evaldi, his ERA is in the low 2s right now. But the thing that we know about him is he throws like 100 miles an hour plus. So guys like that against teams like the Rays that are super efficient, foul off a lot of balls. They know how to take these guys around the block a couple of times. So, they get them out in a hurry because they get the pitch count way up. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think the difference between the Rays and the Rangers right now, and I'm not, certainly bad mouthing the Rangers because they've had a great
team in baseball. They are.
They've had a great season.
Number 2, but
I
think
they make mistakes. They make mistakes that teams like the Rays don't make. And I know, it's like the Rangers will make, you look at the Rays and, every single year, not just this year, you look at them every single year, they commit the least errors of any team in baseball every single season. So it's like they might not have star players. They might not have the payroll. They might not have Seager, but they are not going to beat themselves. Their bullpen has made a couple mistakes this season, but, that's going to happen. Everybody's has. But I just think that's the difference between those 2 teams is that the Rays, if it comes down to a game where they both play perfect games, the Rangers are going to win all of them, but if it comes down to a mistake, it's going to be the Rangers that make it. It's going to be the pass ball is going to happen against the Rangers, the one that slides by off the guy's glove, or the second out, they don't get the third out.
Up in the game yesterday. He had 2 outs. It was right to him. It tipped off. Simeon couldn't glove it. And then the Rays were off and rolling.
And the Rays make that play,
they do.
Almost every time. So. And the Diamondbacks have done the same thing this season. Same exact thing. Same exact model where it's like, we don't have the stars. We're going to situationally hit well, and we're not going to beat ourselves.
So, as a Rangers fan, just before I get out of here, I think it's we needed this series against a very formidable opponent, and I think it's going to help us moving down the line, trying to, do something we haven't done in a while, and that's be relevant in October.
Yeah, I think the way the schedules are this year, they don't have to play the Astros a million times anymore, and those games against the A's and the Royals count just as much now. So, those are the ones, the Rangers, I like their chances in them. We saw, that Seattle series last week in Texas. That was ridiculous, man. You can't, the only problem with that is you don't get to save those runs and use them later,
Right.
Man, but that catcher, man, it's like
Jonah Heim, love him,
man. Like if you get run production like that from your catcher, you're going places.
Yep. And your rookie like Josh Jung, man, I like the team.
They're going. All right, Jay. Well, thanks for joining us, and of course, we'll see you tomorrow as always. And Monday could be your final jam session of the season. Hopefully not. But but we'll see. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you. And thanks everybody for joining us. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, not my best day yesterday, but I say buy low. Today's the day. It's always, always, it's the beauty of this business. You're only as good as your last win, but you're only as bad as your last loss, right? So get them today. Thanks, everyone. Make it a winning day. We appreciate each and every one of you.